Houston Astros, the Boston Red Sox, and the college admission scandal all have in common. They all have in common the fact that people sacrifice their morals for their own good just to be successful. Now, while these may be different versions of cheating, they still go off the idea that today's society's morals are not in the same place they were 20 years ago, and they really do need to be fixed so people understand where they can change. Now, while many of you may not be interested in sports, all of us need to have good morals, and we need to learn the proper ways. So as an athlete, and more specifically a baseball player, I understand how the Astros and the Red Sox really did mess up and the value of their errors. But as a student, my high school had a few kids involved in that college admission scandal, so for the past year, I've heard a lot in my high school on the news, and I've seen a lot of how they've been handling this entire situation. Now today, I really want to teach you about how the MLB is handling the Astros situation and why this should be a greater punishment so they can learn a lesson. First, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Astros cheating scandal. So, Mike Fiers, who was a pitcher for the Astros in 2017 during the World Series, ended up being traded this year. Due to some anger, he ended up going against the Astros and reporting them for their cheating. He should have done this during the 2017 season, but he didn't. So we have to talk about why he didn't. The process in the article titled Dark Arts and Codebreaker, it stated that the way Codebreaker worked was simple. Somebody would watch an in-game live feed and log a catcher's sign into a spreadsheet, and then they would tell you what kind of pitch was thrown. If and when they figured out what kind of pitch was thrown, then they would shift it to the top right, where they could log the pitch, and once they knew the sign, they would send it to the monitors in the bottom of the dugout. The person down there would relay it to whoever was in the dugout, and they would bang on a trash can, which if I had a video I would show you, but you can hear them banging on the trash can trying to tell the batter what kind of pitch is coming. Now, for the record, any use of outside technology in sports, especially baseball, is strictly prohibited because it does give an unfair advantage to the team. Now, on top of that, though, sign stealing is a thing that happens in day-to-day baseball, and it's actually an art that a lot of players do. Cal Poly, we do it. We have 5 guys who sit there with clipboards, and all of them are writing down what certain coaches are sending to the catcher. But the issue with college baseball especially, and pros, is they have so many different variations of signs that they switch every inning, so you never know if you're right. But even if you figure out you're right, once the other team knows that you figured out their signs, they will switch them. The issue with this was no team could prevent the Astros from stealing their signs because once they had it, they had every algorithm possible. Now, once this was, for people to understand the value of knowing what pitch is coming, it's extremely fast because in the article titled, How Can Anyone Hit a 90-mile-an-hour Fastball? A fastball takes 0.4 of a second to reach home plate after it leaves a pitcher's hand, but a pitcher only needs 1/4 of a second to react. Now, for reference for that, your blink of an eye is about 0.4 of a second, so the ball gets to the plate faster than a pitcher or blink of an eye. Hitting is all about recognition and quickness, so when this scandal was released, Mike Trout, who's arguably one of the best hitters in today, said that going up to the plate knowing what was coming would be really fun up there. Mike Trout especially, he is able to adjust to every pitch, fastball, curveball, changeup, and hit basically anything. But the thing about pitching today is not only do they give the sign of what kind of pitch, but they also say the location. And that's all about hand speed and how you should be changing. Now, once the article was released, an investigation began, and in this article titled, Astros Players Cheated, but Baseball Wanted Answers, so it made a deal. It stated that the league and the Major League Baseball Players Association struck an agreement so that if they told the truth, they would be granted immunity in exchange for the honesty. Now, this does protect players, and it basically prevents them from any financial fines as well as suspensions. But the thing that doesn't mention in this is the outside punishments by pitchers as well as any other as fans. The issue with pitchers, though, is pitchers will be throwing at the batters. So far, the Astros have been hit 14 times in spring training so far. And the issue with this, the thing about this is the MLB should be protecting players from this, and they are suspending pitchers as well as fining them for this. As you can tell, that's a Vanderbilt pitcher taking one to the chest. But the issue with the pitchers deciding how hard they throw and where to throw it is it can break people's noses, it can give them concussions, and that's what looks like 90 miles an hour to the leg. So it's permanent damage and sometimes even worse than that. Now, there are other ways that players have been involved, including voicing opinions about it, including the article titled "Players Blast MLB Commissioner for Handling of Astros Cheating Scandal." Justin Turner stated that Manfred, who's the commissioner of the MLB, set a weak precedent. So now that anyone who goes forward and cheats in a World Series can walk out learning that it's okay. See, this is where we need to draw the line, because people will go in and cheat in life, and they're not getting strong enough punishments. And if they continue at this path, where even how Major League Baseball is handling this situation, there will be something else happening in the future. Now, for example, with this, an article from 2018 titled "Boston Red Sox Used Apple Watches to Steal Signs Against the Yankees," it states that a member of the Red Sox training staff looked at his Apple Watch in the dugout. The trainer then relayed the messages to the other players in the dugout, who in turn would signal teammates about what kind of pitch was coming. Now, this was only for a single series. It was against the Yankees, but they just got a small financial fine and they walked away with it. Now, if we go a little more close to home, though, then we talk about the college admission scandal. A majority of these people who are upper class are all getting off the hook or getting minimal time. This is just showing them that with their habits, they will be able to get out of or not get in trouble, and another process will happen in the future. But I believe that increasing the punishment on the Astros will not only change how people handle themselves in baseball, but how people handle themselves in lives, as they will realize that cheating and breaking your morals are something that people can't deal with today.